Hi guys, welcome to COSC100 tutorial number 5. In this video we're going to have a look at exercise number 2. So in exercise number 2 you're going to create your own multiplication table using formulas in Excel. So by the end of this exercise you should have a table, a set of cells that look like the depiction that we've got here in the figure. So you can see that we've got numbers 2 to 10 listed across columns B to J, and we've got numbers 2 to 10 listed down in column A. So to build this multiplication table we're going to be making use of some absolute references, but to start with we need to populate a spreadsheet with our initial values. So we'll start by opening up our spreadsheet, and in cells B1 and C1 we'll enter the numbers 2 and 3. Now we want to fill these right across so we have numbers from 2 to 10. So we do that by selecting cells B1 and C1, and then we use the fill handle to drag those across to cells all the way across to cell J. So we can see when we do that, because we've started off the pattern with cells 2 and 3, Excel can automatically continue filling those across, counting up one at a time. And we'll do the same thing in column A, so we'll populate cells A2 and A3, select both cells A2 and A3, and drag them down to row number 10 to fill out the first row and the first column for our multiplication table. So now we're ready to get started and start entering the formulas that will calculate the values that sit within the body of our multiplication table. So we'll start by looking at cell B2. So this cell will need to multiply the number in A2 by the number in B1. So we start by multiplying A2 by B1. When we enter that we get the correct number of 4. Now, we don't want to have to go and do that manually for every cell in our table, so we're going to try to fill that across. Now, when we do this, we can immediately see that we've got an error because 2 times 3 doesn't equal 12. And what's happened is we've started with formula A2 multiplied by B1. When we've dragged that across, the C1 cell has been updated as we'd expect, but instead of multiplying it by A2, we're multiplying it by B2. So the fill handle, when we've dragged that across, has updated this first reference incorrectly. So that's not going to give us the right answer. So to correct this, we go back and we have to make use of an absolute column reference. And we do that by placing a $sign in front of the A component of that cell reference. So what this is saying is that we want the column to remain the same when we drag across. When we do so, you can see that now we have the correct answer. We've got 2 times 3 equaling 6, and we can see that this cell of A2 has remained consistent when we've used the fill handle to drag our form and dragged across. We can go across and do the same for 8, so 4 times 2 is 8, and so forth, and we can fill that all the way across if we wish. Now, that's worked fine for the row, but when we try to fill this down, it's not going to work. We're going to have the same problem again, only this time the column is correct, so it's multiplied by cell A3, but the reference is incorrect. It's multiplied by cell B2 instead of B1. So to fix this, we go back, we'll remove all of those formulas that we started in the first row, and we'll put a row reference into the B row. So we see here we put our row reference into the B reference, our row absolute reference into the B cell by putting the $sign before the 1. So what this is saying is that we don't want to change the row on this cell. So when we fill down, we can see that we now get the correct answer because the B column has remained, the B row has remained consistent. We've only updated the A reference. So now, because we've put both of these into our formula, we can simply fill across and fill down. So we should be able to fill across. Oops. Let's go undo that particular edit. We should be able to fill across, and we should be able to start filling our formulas down. So when we fill down, you can see that we get the correct answers. What's interesting, when we filled across, it's actually updated the row referencing for us, so we've still got the $sign in there. So when we fill down, we end up with the correct response. So we can go through and do that for each row in our table, and we'll end up with our nice multiplication table once we've finished up here filling all of these down. So this will be useful whenever you need to anchor individual rows and columns so that the cells aren't updated when you fill across. So you can see that we've created our multiplication table as depicted in our exercise. So now that's all we have for exercise number 2.